I would like to introduce you to Helen Daintree. Helen is a later life lesbian, coming out at age 30. She started her working life as a PE teacher. She then undertook a PhD in sociology of sport, and then she lectured in women's health, the body and society, among other topics. Helen played elite-level cricket, hockey and volleyball, and she's won several medals in track and field at the Gay Games in Sydney 2002 and various Masters Games. Helen's professional life as a social scientist and teacher focused on feminism, sexuality and sport. Her activism has been about domestic violence and women's health. Thank you, Helen.
And I'm very grateful to be able to live on Quandamooka land. So today, Queensland, you may not realise, but Queensland is celebrating the International Day of Brick Visibility. It's a day of stories and showcasing the contribution those bricks make to our society and the freedom for women. I haven't checked, because I don't live in the city, but there are probably flags designed by some public servant ideologue flying in the buildings in Brisbane. But we're here to celebrate this day our way. As you know, we're the only group that doesn't get funded to celebrate this day. We're here because we're critical of the feat of clay of our government as they construct laws to strip us of our fundamental rights and freedoms as females. We're meeting here in this place in Brisbane because we've got feminist bricks and we want to do something positive with our rage and fury at the events of the last month. Recently as well, the government's decided that they'll have yet another law to strip our freedom, even the freedom to meet and express what they would label now, or Shannon's labelled, an extremist ideology. I was 10 when I first felt this protective rage that I felt watching the events of Kelly Jay's tour. I felt rage at all those abusive men, at the misogynist media, and fury and disgust at the politicians who even gave $900,000 to help those abusive men get over the trauma of the day. And I'm disgusted at the politicians who remained silent. It reminded me, I was walking home from the bus stop after school with my little brother who was 6. It was a sweltering summer's day in Sydney, and we had packed in our lunchbox frozen bottles that appeared during summer, and we saved them for our long walk home. Johnny White, who went to the same school, stopped my little brother and wrestled that precious bottle off him. Rage gripped my whole body as the older sister. I slung my Globite case across at him, but it missed and slid into the gutter. Then I found there was a small chunk, a bit of brick, in my hand. So I picked it up, and the next thing I know, it's bouncing off Johnny White's face, about here. His shocked face, and mine as well, because he had an egg growing out of his cheek that looked like someone blowing a bubblegum bubble. I had never seen a bubblegum egg like that before, and I was terrified. My little brother's now running, screaming excitedly, "You've got him! You've got him!" I am running fast enough to win the 200 metres at the Olympic Games because I am convinced I have just killed Johnny White. I hide under the house, waiting to be arrested for his death. But as well as being terrified, there's part of me that's pleased that I protected my little brother from a bully who was taking things that weren't his. So what can we do with the deep-seated protective rage that we felt during that past month? Well, we can pick up a brick. That's what I want to talk about on this International Brick Day. I have this to deal with the fury I feel when vicious bullies take what is not theirs. When they take from lesbians like me, from my daughter, my nieces, my family, and every other female, they take the rights that we had, and that's why we need more bricks. We can use bricks to build walls to defend women's rights, and despite some claims to the contrary, there's some controversy. There is sort of a binary when it comes to brick walls. They can either protect and keep us secure, or they can be built by the powerful to defend their interests and repel attacks of the powerless. They can be designed by the rich and powerful, which is sort of the situation we're in now. You might have noticed I've come ready to work today. I've come ready to restore those walls and those buildings that protect women's rights. The events of the past month have been particularly horrendous, but at the same time, some of the women, many of the women made me smile. So this is about what do we do next, the things that we do so that we feel okay about being in this struggle. So there are two types of bricks, main types of bricks. There's government issue clay ones, and they can stand a fair bit of heat, up to 1,000 degrees. Then there are fire bricks. They're our bricks. There are fire bricks. They can take a lot more heat than the government ones. They can take up to 1,600 degrees Celsius, and unlike those clay bricks, they have metal added to them. Because of the high metal content, they don't flake under extreme heat, and they resist toxic chemical attacks. Very helpful for us. So, in miniature, our wall looks like this. We can use these bricks to shape things to benefit and protect women. We can use these tough bricks to inspire our choices and our actions. And rather than simply sitting back and saying, well, it is what it is, I say, I'm going to make it how it needs to be for women and girls. We can use these to improve our spirit and resolve to strengthen the existing buildings created by all the astounding feminists from way back. Not only do these bricks create a safe structure for us, but they also protect the security of our historical achievements and the rights that are being stripped. So, here are the plans for the building. Now, you'll find these buildings all around the world. It's the same design. So we don't have to think about the design. This is what we're doing. We need to strengthen this building, build its walls higher and stronger, and we need to make great use of the internal features of our building. Women in the UK are a bit ahead of us here in restoring the building and protecting rights. They've had a few wins recently, and even the Prime Minister has come out and said, no woman has a penis. Now that's huge for the leader of the country to come out and acknowledge that. And that is the work of the UK women working on building this bigger, stronger, higher. The circle is the strongest shape structurally. Think about eggs. The stresses on a circle are distributed equally along the wall. Targeting any one of us or group of us is not going to cause this building to crack or to fail. The other magical thing about circular buildings is they can carry communication over big distances. You can have the faintest whisper and it can be heard. If you're in a perfect circle, curved wall, it can be heard a long, long way away because the sound hugs the wall and amplifies it as it's travelled. And our whispers here can be heard around the world, just like we can hear other people in this building around the world. It's ideal for those for whom it's dangerous to speak out loudly. This circular wall is precious and magical. It was discovered, this is a bit of an aside, it was discovered 1824. Someone reported that there was a cathedral in Sicily that had a very badly sited confessional box. It was against a curved wall. And people 250 feet away could hear the whole village. There was no privacy in that village because of the features of that curved wall. Now, we've been out, some of us older feminists have been out and we're having to gurney off our building walls. And in doing that, we can see some of the women who've come before. And how many bricks have already been laid. The foundations, it's good news because we don't have to build any foundations. They are already there. People like Lillian Cooper, Josephine Bedford, Edith Cowan, Fanny Durack, the swimmer, and Jessie Street, and Emma Miller, and thousands more. They are all visible in the foundations of our building. We need to restore their work. That's what I see the challenge. How do we restore the work that's been done? And with the gurneying off, the building's becoming more visible because we, women in this room and thousands of others, are adding more bricks on behalf of all women and girls. Now in the US, some of you will know, WOLF, the Women's Liberation Front, have had a massive win. And that is, yes, WOLF is a radical feminist activist group. They wrote a legal document, the Women's Bill of Rights, and that bill has just been passed in Kansas. And it had bipartisan support. Democrats and Republicans both supported it. The Democratic governor tried to put a veto, but the public outcry was such that the veto was overturned, and now Kansas is the first state in the States to have a Women's Bill of Rights where the definition of sex is biological and the definition of woman is a biological sex definition. That's a purple brick. And we have, because a brick of brick this size saves us, the rest of us, from doing lots of laying of bricks. Because we only have rights if we can enforce them in the courts. We don't have rights that people... When your rights are challenged, such as at the minute, I'll talk about Sal in a minute, then your only recourse, your rights only exist in the courtroom and in legislation, which is why these purple bricks changing legislation are so important. Sal, in Australia, Sal Grover, has a very similar court case running. She is attempting to have sex defined as biological in anti-discrimination law at the federal level. If she's successful, all the laws that the Queensland government and Shannon Fentiman has passed, the privileged gender identity, will become invalid. Now, you would have seen bricks come in different sizes, shapes, and the main thing is they're all connected. They connect really well inside this building. And you'll see I've got my corporation helmet protective hat on today, the IWD hat. Now this is a multi-purpose acronym. As well as standing for IWD, Mianjin, International Women's Day, this can stand for International Women's Declaration, Invincible Warrior Defenders, and if you're feeling antsy, Destroyers, Intrepid Women Designers for buildings, or if you've had a rough day and the news has been particularly bad and you want to vent a bit, it can be Insulting Woke Definitions. Put that on the wall. Or it can be quite a determined individual proclamation. I will dead name. I won't defer. I will disobey. Or insufferable when dehumanised. And back to the global connection, if you're feeling that bigger connection, we defend. Now, the issue with Sal's case is it will probably drag on for quite a long time, because if she gets through the next stage, I don't know where it's at after yesterday, I'm sorry, but each state attorney general will be called into this case. And just think how long that's going to drag out. So in the meantime, we need to grab a brick and a hard hat. And I have some bricks. So if you could just take one and pass it on. Thank you. We're going to need to continue the restoration of women's rights and constructing this building. So, you need a brick, you need a hard hat that's been toughened by women's solidarity and the history of women's struggles, because the misogynist changes to legislation keep being hurled at us. You're going to need a visor, because you don't want a Johnny White egg experience. And with a visor, you can see clearly what's being thrown at you. You'll need to attach some neck protection. This is fireproof material, and this is, I would add this. I'll show you. I will add this to my neck protection, because this will protect you from the heat of the backstabbers. So, to finish, I'd say let's celebrate today. Let's celebrate the purple bricks, the little bricks, and let's all vow to keep restoring women's rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen. We can see from Helen's presentation that there have been wins. There have been wins in the UK, that there are starting to now be some wins in the US. And boy, do we deserve and need wins in this country. Now, Sal Grover's case is not going to pay for itself. We all need to go to her crowdfunding page and donate each fortnight or, each few weeks, whenever we can. Every little bit helps. So let's all contribute and keep contributing. It's an expensive case, and we all depend on Sal getting a win from that case.